Institutions buy Bitcoin, retail investors buy XRP, in my opinion. So yeah, XRP major signal just flashed. Let's take a look at this. Time is running out. Here is why. So why is time running out for XRP? What's the major signal? So let me just skip through on here. So corporate supply buying Bitcoin versus new supply. Corporate treasuries and funds have bought 370,000 Bitcoin year to date, 357 more miners produced. So supply versus demand. This obviously is very good for XRP as well.
Bitcoins that are being mined, it's just not enough to keep up. And that's where the scarcity aspect.
They're buying the entire supply. They're literally buying the entire supply, what they're doing right now.
This time around, people that have obtained Bitcoin, over the last, few years are honestly the ones that are actually, happy at this point, because in terms of retail aspect, guys, retail just in a grand scheme of things, I'm not saying the entire retail cannot afford BTC, but in a grand scheme of things, only a very small percentage can go ahead and, purchase one.
Yeah, you're very blessed if you can buy a full Bitcoin. But how many XRP can you buy? A big supply, right? That's why people are buying XRP right now, because if you're going to ask a person, what would you rather hold? Pro Crypto House, new rules, new game, Wall Street has endorsed it. I mean, this is a very clear idea. If you could own 10 XRP or 0.0001 of Bitcoin or whatever it is, I'm just giving an explanation here, or 100 XRP, what would you rather have? 100 XRP that could each go to $10? So that would be 1,000. I definitely feel like it can go to $10. Not financial advice, of course, but that's my opinion. Or would you hold like a fraction of something, right? That's why people are pushing for XRP. Also the burns. XRP is going to have burns in the future. I don't feel like the XRP burns will affect the price. They haven't with Terra Luna Classic. They haven't with, SHIB, but they will support the price, which is the most important. They will add utility. It literally adds utility. They're used as gas fees. XRP is going to be used as gas fees just like Ethereum is. So what happened to Ethereum when it was used for gas and staked? That's a lot of money that came true. Like a lot of gas burned, a lot of Ethereum burned every single day.
Imagine once, you do see that ETF coming in the picture, how much, momentum that could bring in. And on top of that, we need to understand there's already corporations that are raising funds to actually obtain XRP on their balance sheet, which of course should give you a better understanding as to, what the future potentially looks like. But look at what Bank XRP says. Ripple versus SEC is now officially over there.
So yeah, the SEC officially announces a joint stipulation to dismiss appeals. Civil enforcement action against Ripple and 2 of its executives. So seems like we've hit a turning point for Ripple, and XRP isn't going unnoticed. The potential for reaching that $8 mark is thrilling, considering its recent surge. With all this behind us, the path for XRP and broader XRP ledger ecosystem might be just getting clearer. So yeah, $8, I mean, if we saw 68% this year, could it be this bull run? It's going to be maybe a bit harder, but it's not going to be impossible. $8 is not that crazy when you think about it.
The SEC officially announced a joint dismissal on the appeals, resolving civil enforcement action against Ripple and 2 of its executives, which were Brad Gerlinghouse and Chris Larson. Done. It is officially over, and of course this is bigger than you know it. But speaking about that, of course, last night we talked about how there could be a potential listing from Blackrock now, which even me personally I think it just makes sense. But look what Nate says. Blackrock
I already talked about this, but yeah, the pretty much summary on this is BlackRock is not going to say no to easy money, and I think they're waiting for the right announcement. They say I'm pretty sure they said the same for Ethereum. This was the same general reply that we got for Ethereum. BlackRock does not have any plans to file an Ethereum ETF sold the block, and like a few months later they listed it. So do I trust this? In my opinion, not. I love Blackrock, I love you to bits, but the thing is, I feel like XRP ETFs will be listed as soon as the government approves it. But we already have so many XRP ETFs incoming. It's a lot of money coming in. So, BlackRock will be joining up with or without them. That's the most important factor here.
Reminder, we have big names that have filed for that.
Like, look at these. These are very big names. And then we have Canadian ETFs. We don't have only US ETFs. Then we're going to have, other ETFs available.
ETF, and I think sometime in, the near future, we're going to see these really go live based off of the timelines. I think the deadline is sometime in October. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm very, confident it is around that range. So, of course, SEC has to make up its decision. It just makes sense. With this lawsuit over, I think maybe now is the time for them to approve it. And if they approve it that way,
they already said we're going to get more news in September. I feel like people forget that September is going to be the, big day of the big news. And that's exactly what I was saying about that.
Be huge, but don't expect SEC to come. I'm sorry, not SEC. Don't expect BlackRock to come out and admit that, yes, you know what, guys, we are going to do it in the future. Even if they commented this, hey, you know what, we are planning to do it in the near future, but as of now, we're not yet to do so. What would that have done to the price? The price would have reacted in a positive way. And we need to understand that these keywords are something we don't want to be ignoring. But take a look at what...
Yeah, I mean, confirming would send the asset price soaring, chess, not checkers. I mean, why wouldn't they just launch their own campaign and announce it when it is ready? I feel like that's more important. Like, they will not just announce it through an article. They will wait for everyone until they finally confirm it.
Subjective view says BlackRock isn't, obviously crazy. Confirming the plans to launch an XRP ETF would send the assets price soaring. Exactly. Perfectly explained what I'm talking about as well. But look at what X Finance Bill says. Breaking: South Korea just flipped the switch.
I mean, South Korea is trading pretty big volumes, right, on XRP. Very high amounts. Anyway, in millions. I would say like 30% of all XRP volume is Korea. They're very advanced, very developed, friendly people, and they know that XRP is going to be moving the markets. They also traded a lot of Terra Luna Classic. So I'm not saying that Terra Luna Classic and XRP are correlated. I'm just saying that both were doing like these type of transactions and payment systems, and they were working on things. I feel like the communities will unite at some point.
On XRP, 1.1 billion volume on Upbit in 24 hours, leading the world. The surge came right after the SEC case closed. FOMO is heating up, and this is just the beginning. Let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are in regards to that.
Like, this is like, let's see what people are saying. I guess that will be the next big Hopium events was yesterday, but I thought I was going to push it right over $5.07. That was not what we were waiting for. We were waiting for something else. I don't know what. It's not going to be $5 instantly. It's going to take time before it's actually $5. And even these ETFs, they are the catalyst for $5. These will take time to actually get the inflows up and running. But the first day, wow, it could be nice. It is not going to change the world, but it is going to help.
Talk about the index, the dominance index, and how important it is if you're an altcoin holder. And look at this. We broke below July lows. Amazing to see. We're retesting some of the levels we haven't seen since the beginning of the year. Drop in below 60%, which we have not done so yet, would be an insane thing in my opinion, which could trigger even more excitement within the altcoin market. BTC, on the other hand, is pushing back towards a $117,600 range. So far, we have some resistance around the level where we currently are, but amazing to see with the way BTC is holding while dominance is pulling down, and of course altcoins.
So yeah, it does seem like that Koreans have been buying XRP. Bit is a big Korean exchange. Everything is slowly going steady up. This lawsuit being over. Again, what's next? You're thinking, life is good right now. And the real answer is institutions. Institutions buying in is basically lots of money coming in, which is what I've been hoping for. Now with the SEC case officially over, 100%, not 99%, 100%, this is when we could see institutions like hop on in and say, oh, we suddenly bought it. We already saw one buy for 100 million of Ripple shares. Again, when you buy Ripple shares, you basically say, I'm trusting you with $100 million that my portfolio will go up. And, you know, they're willing to bet big. They're willing to bet millions and millions of dollars, even $100 million for it to basically recover.